They're false prophet.
The whoa, okay. I don't know if I'm going to leave that in. Look,
What'd you do?
you're talking about a high-powered politician here, okay? I don't want us to get shut down. I want us to get canceled.
What you do is just bleep that out. Leave it in, but bleep it out. Come on, that's good. You know that.
That was really funny. All right. Well, anywho.
Come here! Let's go, give me a flipper!
All right. Welcome to episode for real 69
And
of
a half.
Amateur Hour. And half. Yeah, that. I guess we can go over that real
The
quick.
mysterious 69th episode.
Yeah. We attempted to have an episode with our newest teammates at the Matt Wilson compound. It didn't work out.
Have you ever heard the expression "off the rails"?
Yeah, that was off the
It
rails.
went off the rails almost immediately. As soon as we handed the mic to the children,
I
that
think
was the end
Avery
of
in
it.
particular was one that made things very.
Yeah, he did not want to hand the mic back away. After we gave it to him, he kept it in his hand.
Well, he still has that mic. I had to go buy a new one. I don't know what he's doing with it.
That was something else.
Well, anyway, we're here recorded at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I hope Troy's your summer going okay.
It is very busy. A lot of
Okay.
home construction, if that's a thing.
You do look a lot like Al Borland.
You look a lot like Al Bundy.
Well, yeah. I think I feel like Al Bundy feels. So I thought it would be fun for us to do kind of a summertime how to make a lasting flag football team series. Probably need a catchier name for that, but I am sitting next to a portrait that is titled "At 6'7", passing lanes became constricted by Ed's presence," and above it says "Ed Too Tall Jones."
I thought
number
it said,
72.
I thought it said at 67.
Yeah.
I thought it was talking about his age. I didn't know they were talking about his height.
So it's possible that I just can't come up with anything better to call this. But, so,
How much dust is on those over there?
yeah, this
That's
place,
all falling on our food.
yeah, we've so far murdered a German roach and observed a lot of uncleanliness.
Yes.
If Bill Leger were still alive, he could do his restaurant report card.
Slime in the ice machine.
Dead guy in the freezer. Anyway.
Rest in peace, Bill Leger.
Yeah, he was cool. Well, anyway, so we are going to talk about death, though, because today the topic for how to make a lasting flag football team is the death of flag football teams.
The teams that have died. That's how you don't start like these teams.
Yes. So I'm going to quickly read off the 38 teams that have played in our league over the last 5 years. And when I was making this list,
These are the 38 teams that have These are the 38 teams that have died.
These are the 38 teams who have perished.
Okay.
And my criteria was you lasted less than 5 years or fewer than 5 years, and you played in at least one full season. And there were a lot of combinations of teams, but this is just kind of the best I could do. So I'll probably even speed up the audio on the actual thing so it's quicker. But here are the 38 teams. Primetime Beaumont Stars, Foul, Shake and Bake, Warriors, Black Ops, Team Savage, Team Ramrod, Beast Mode, Spartans, Blue Devils, Diamondbacks, Average Joes, Punishers, BMS Goats, Honey Badgers, Shrill Black Panthers, Squad Elite, Purple Cobras, Team Easy Money, Team New Balance, Wolfpack, Pirates, Texas Toast, Touchdown Factory, The Storm, Nightmare, GBNG, Salty, Prestige Worldwide, Express, Clydesdales, SETX, Elite, Exclusive, Primetime, a different one, Loyal Boys, Team Heat, and coming soon, I think, the $sign Suicide Boys, $sign.
They're not a current. They're a current dead team.
I think they're on IC. They're in ICU.
Okay.
So of these, do any of them stick out to you?
Well, the original Primetime, which
Yeah.
the team that made it to a couple of championship games, BMS or BMT Stars.
Yeah.
They stuck around for a long time. Those stand out because those are teams that had good players and
Right.
were original teams to the league.
So I thought we would go through a couple of these because I think they have some good lessons. If you guys want to keep your team together, you could try to avoid and learn from. And a lot of people that played on these teams, of course, still play. And please don't think that I'm saying this to make fun of anybody or anything like that, but I do think it's helpful to know kind of what happens when things fail. So the first one was prime time. They were extremely talented. There were a lot of really good athletes, but I think a big thing was they had a lot of personalities that just didn't really go together. James Morrison played on that team at the same time as Dalton Ivey, at the same time as that one fella who looked like he maybe ate live goats,
Dylan Vanoy was on that team.
Dylan Vanoy was on that team. I just don't think they meshed in a personality way. I think a lot of them were friends, but I don't think it was complementary personalities. And I think immaturity had a lot to do with them. There was no adult in the room. When things would start going wrong, no one would refocus people back on playing the game. I can remember when their quarterback, they were losing to us, and he said, if they league. It's important for your team to have someone, when that spiral starts, to go, stop, we're playing a football game, let's go. But they didn't have that adult in the room. So I think having that one person on your team, and it doesn't have to be the team captain like, on the Showstoppers. I'm not Showstoppers, on Jack Boys. When Mouse shows up, Mouse kind of cuts all that out, and they refocus on football. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I mean, when you're a young team, you think you're just going to show up and beat people, and they did for most of the league until they played a team like the Herd that had a game plan and had people that had played a while and had some adults that took charge out there. They couldn't beat us. So, and you could see them start fighting in the games and getting mad about everything. Everything was something bad was happening because it was the league. They're cheating or whatever. So they didn't have anybody to calm that down. Once it started going downhill, they couldn't figure it out. So, I think that was a big problem with them.
Now, like Beaumont Stars, I kind of made a few notes. Like, to me, they had a lack of identity. I don't think I ever knew what they were. Like, they had a bunch of different quarterbacks. I think they were at their best when Bruce was their quarterback. But it seemed like a bunch of different people that wanted to play flag football got together and played, but there was never, like, to me, the Jack Boys' identity is they're incredibly fast and they spread the field. Showstoppers are organized and they have kind of a few set plays, and they have about 5 people that play quarterback. So I think Beaumont Stars' lack of identity was hard, and I think they were missing some football people.
Yeah, they were just not ever good. They were okay, but they were just never a good team.
Yeah, well, you had the one guy rushing who was like 6'11", but he had never played football before.
Yeah.
You had fast people that had never played football before. And I think they kind of missed the boat because they had people who were maybe fast, but they didn't know football. And it's kind of important when you're playing football to have people who actually understand. I mean, haven't we had a bunch of people come out and try to play with us?
That couldn't figure it out.
And you can tell the first pass they try to catch.
Yeah. You and I would whisper, look at each other and just go,
nope.
No, this guy's not going to be here.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Not going to work out.
And you can tell with the first pass, like when Joel Cole first started with us, I looked at him and thought, no way, this dude is a buffed up, muscular guy. Then I saw him catch football, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he can play.
He was the exception. You looked at him and thought, oh, he can't play, and then he played.
One of the best players we ever had.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one I have on here is Spartans, which is actually, to me, a happy story. I think they're the only team I have on this list that died of natural causes.
Oh, God.
Because their players got older, and they all got, involved in family stuff and coaching kids and everything. Like Feature, I know coaches. I know Bronson coaches. And they're not a team anymore because they got older and started doing other stuff in life. And I think that should probably be the goal for most of your flag football teams. It's just play until you can't play anymore, and then hang it up and do your other stuff. And I think they hung together so long because they were together a long time before we had a league.
Yeah,
because
they weren't the Spartans, so that they were.
No, they were a bunch of different teams.
Yeah,
but they had good leadership. I think Bronson did a good job with that. They didn't fight a lot. They had kind of fun characters like Gully, I think, played with them, and they had a good attitude toward things. Like, they really took it like a sport, not like it was a live and die situation. I remember when they played the Jack Boys a long time ago, and it was that big build-up.
Yeah.
As soon as the game was over, everybody was cool. So I thought that they did a good job. They're the only team on my list that died of natural causes.
Another left street, please. And that's a team that they could have won a championship. Primetime could have won a championship against us, and the Spartans could have won a championship also. They
Absolutely.
had the talent to win a championship.
And I think, I'm looking at this list, that might be the only couple of teams that stood a chance.
Yeah.
So the next one I have that I highlighted was Diamondbacks. I love that team.
And
They were fun.
And if you hear the beginning of the podcast, I'm telling them they're one of my favorite teams.
Yeah.
That's because they were so fun to be around. They had so much fun. They came out and played hard and had some good attitudes, and they had so much fun and took it seriously, and they were fun to watch. I enjoyed that team.
Like right now, like I'm thinking about that nighttime game when they won.
Yeah.
Made it to the playoffs, and like I get goosebumps thinking about it because it was so cool. Like they were so excited and so happy. But
rest in peace, Chris Brown.
It's terrible what happened to him. He was always such a good guy, always smiling. He played hard. But on the flag football side of it, I think they had a lack of leadership. I don't think there was anybody on that team who was truly the leader. And I think they only thrived on emotion, and there was no accountability because remember was kind of the leader of that group. I don't know that he was actually kind of elected or whatever as their leader, but he sort of took on that role. But he couldn't get past himself sometimes. Like, he couldn't get past the thing where he kind of wanted it to be all about him. And I'm not saying that it's like it's a bad thing on him as a person, but don't you see a whole lot of like quarterbacks and people that want it to just everything to go through them?
Yeah.
And it kind of messes up the team. The reason our team to me succeeds sometimes is because that Wilson will let someone else step in and play quarterback or hand the ball off to you.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't have to be channeled through him. And your quarterback just can't need to be involved in every single thing. And that's the problem with so many teams is that the quarterback or the person trying to play quarterback needs every single thing to go through them and to be the cause of everything good that happens. And I can remember the Diamondbacks playing, and not from most of them, but from some of the people who I think were in charge of their team, there was a lot of complaining about, like, unfairness, little cheap, like, I can't believe Sean would call that. I mean, you got to get focused on the football game.
Yeah.
So I think lack of leadership and lack of accountability really hurt them coming back and playing. Because when they lost in the playoffs, they were just done. Like, it was over.
Because even when I think they came back as a different team name even, like, the next season or 2 seasons later, they had a different team name or the Wolves or something. And
what was it?
The Wolves or something.
Oh, I don't remember.
But I don't even know. Something like that.
Yeah, but like I said, so lack of leadership and lack of accountability to me were the main things for that team. Now, Average Joe's, they had a lot of good players. They didn't have an adult.
Yeah. Cunningham was probably the
adult, but he's quiet and he doesn't.
Yeah,
he wants to come play a football game and not. He doesn't want to wrangle all these people.
Yeah.
Not that anybody really does.
Yeah.
But I think they needed an adult in the room. I think they needed a true leader that people looked to and said, yes, that's our leader. The Punishers. They played for a season or 2, maybe even 3.
For like 3 or 4 seasons.
On my notes, I have that they were delusional. And I don't mean that in a like an insult, but I think they had like a bit of delusion of grandeur that I think they thought they were something they weren't.
Yes.
You had people playing quarterback that thought they were quarterback that weren't. You had certain people playing corner that thought they were vastly more talented than they actually were. Everybody on that team had themselves rated about 2 points above what they actually were.
Yeah, and they averaged about 1 win a season.
Right.
Which is not a good average when you play 8 to 10 games a season.
Well, that's the next part I have on them is stagnation. they would lose, change nothing.
Yeah.
Lose, change nothing. I don't even think they got new players. Like, it was kind of the same group of guys, and they didn't change. Well, every now and then they would throw kind of a fit and change quarterbacks for like a half.
Yeah.
But then it was just back to the same old thing. You know, they just never tried anything new.
And talked a lot about how good they were, though. How tough and good they were.
It's
so
amazing
weird.
you would say that, because the next thing I have on here is toxic personalities. I think that group in particular had a lot of toxic people all together. And like in the NFL, you can have an Antonio Brown or, a insert whatever athlete here.
Yeah.
You can't have a bunch of them. You can only do one or two. And I think they have way too many. Maybe that drive from Warren just wore people out and they were in a bad mood when they got there.
Yeah.
The next one I have are the BMS Goats or the BMS Goat.
I mean, I almost have. The only thing I could say is they had one player that showed up all the time. That's all I can think about him.
A poor guy, too. He paid for them to play. And the only reason I have them kind of highlighted on here is that they were also delusional, but in a different way. And that, if you're trying to start a flag football team or a softball team or anything for that matter, and it's a bunch of people who you've talked to, and they're like, yeah, I'll be there. Have at least 2 or 3 practices if it's a brand new team before you actually do it. Because if they don't actually invest and spend the money, or at least the time to practice, they're probably not going to show up. And you're going to be out whatever money you paid. So, I hate taking money from people when I don't think that they actually have a team that's going to play, because I don't want to screw people over, and I don't want to screw the other teams over because they're expecting someone to show up and play.
Well, and I hate that he would show up
Every week he showed up.
with his arm sleeves, his wristbands, his knee sleeves, like everything. He was dressed to everything you could have to match his color uniform, and nobody else would show up after week 1. Like, that was it. And it was hard to watch because he
felt
bad for him,
yeah.
But
So, yeah, if you're going to start one, I mean, get that money from people, And if they don't pay you, you don't have a team. It's okay. There's other teams to play with.
yeah,
But if they don't pay you, they're not playing. Now, eventually you can get to our level, I guess, if I can call it a level, and you have enough people to play, and you'll have 1 or 2 people that don't pay. That's like, okay, I mean, it is what it is. But you can't start with nobody paying.
yeah, you got to have a set team first that knows what to do and will show up, be committed before you can say, okay, I'll pay everything, and eventually everybody will pay.
Yeah, they'll pay me back.
Yeah,
No, they're not going to pay you back.
yeah. You got to know your guys before that happens.
So another team I have on here is the Storm. I thought they had an excellent team.
They won a championship.
I thought that was a great group of people to play that sport. I thought they had a good combination of people who were kind of outside the box, Chase Boudreaux throwing the ball everywhere, people, and then just straight up athletes like Carnell leaping over everybody to catch passes.
Eric Whitmire. One of the underrated guys.
Whitmire is awesome. And there's a bunch more, And I thought Blake was a good team captain in a lot of ways. They had a lot of infighting, though. There's only one ball. Everybody wants it. And I think it's kind of a sad story with them to me, because I think they had a whole lot of potential, but what they needed to do was step back and go, hang on, we just won. Why are we, why is all this fighting going on? Like, we just won.
Yeah.
I almost think they got too good too fast, and there wasn't that build-up of struggling for a few years, and it was like instant success, and then, well, where do we go from here?
Because the 2 seasons before they won the championship, they were very average. They're terrible, actually. They were really bad.
They weren't good at all.
And then they got a few guys together, put them together, won the championship, and then never came back. And it was like one of the biggest sparks of a lighter, and then it was gone.
Yeah, and it reminds me of politics, because it's like no one wants to understand each other or compromise, and there's literally 1 ball per play. Everybody can't get the ball every play. And it's like, God, you're doing great, You have 3 quarterbacks, you have all this other stuff, but everybody just wants one thing too much, and it just I kind of think they fell apart because of circumstances that were outside of most of their control.
But if you notice, a lot of those guys that complain about wanting the ball, needing the ball, go back to another team or whatever, and are still complaining about wanting the ball, needing the ball.
And they still don't get the ball enough.
It's never enough.
It's amazing.
It's never enough.
No, but I think they're the best team. Well, maybe the Spartans. Them or the Spartans are the best team on this list. And the last one I have highlighted is just the Suicide Boys. I don't know if they're going to keep playing, but I think they stand the best potential of being the next team to be deceased.
I think some of those guys were on the BMS Goats as well.
I think so. And, if anybody's listening that controls that team, I know Aaron Ward plays for them. Y'all are not close to winning, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that. And the only way for you to get better is to have some very simple system put in place and get excellent at about 5 plays. And then have a defense where everybody's in a zone and is disciplined and stays in their zone. You're going to get scored on, and you're going to get beat. But if you can execute 5 plays really well, stay in your zones on defense, you'll win 2 or 3 games a year.
Yeah.
And when you get a quarterback, you'll win a whole bunch more.
And you can't complain when you miss a ball or you miss a flag. There can't be somebody that is out there like getting on people because you're trying, and when you're trying and someone yells at you for trying and you mess up, it makes it really hard to want to come back out and play.
Absolutely.
Because when you do make a good play, that same person that was bitching and complaining better be the first guy to go out there and say great job, because then you get that feeling of, hey, we're doing something. I got acknowledgement for something good that happened. So you've got to have that both ways. If you're gonna be rough on somebody, you got to be great to them as well.
Yeah. So to sum up, little keys to keeping your flag football team together: you need a leader. A leader. I've tried the democracy thing before. It does not work very well. You can have people vote on certain things like jersey colors, but you have to have someone who is in charge. One person, one voice to say, this is what we're doing, this is the direction we're going. You have to have some accountability and understand that you lose the games because of the things happen with your team the way they did, and it's not the world plotting against you. And I think maybe the most important thing, probably even over those, is you have to have an adult in the room. Your team needs someone to say, cut that shit out and get back to playing football.
And I think every team knows who that one person is. I think the teams that have a leader, everybody else in the league knows who that leader is on each team.
Sure. I mean, you could name me a team, and I can tell, like Walt is team captain of Showstoppers.
But he's not just the captain. He's the adult.
Leader.
He's the adult.
He's the adult in the room.
Yeah.
Walt calms things down. When Josh Hines played on the Jack Boys, he was usually the person who was like, okay, we have to get this straight. Mouse does that for them.
Yeah.
JC is usually pretty cool-headed, except sometimes.
Yeah.
But, every team...
I think I even say Bruce would be that, too.
Oh, yeah.
He may, because like I said, you don't have to be the best player or the best quarterback or whatever. You don't have to be the playmaker on the team to be the adult in the room.
No.
And
like the Expendables have a couple of people who are, pretty cool under pressure and handle things well.
Yeah.
Hell, the squad has a couple of guys that will calm things down, And over the years, I know they don't win a lot, but they have, I enjoy playing against the squad. They like each other. And it's usually just a competitive, like a game. I mean, it's not.
And we can beat them.
It's freaking like playing. But, I mean, all these teams that last, they all have that in common. They have one guy, at least, that can calm things down and get back to football.
You're our guy.
Am I?
You and Chad.
I did tell you one time that in a really intense fit of rage, you were yelling or something. And I said, hey, if you don't stop doing that right now, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
And that was it. I had nothing else to say. I couldn't come back. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. Because if you just keep, like, when me and Matt are going at it, he'll keep coming at me, and it'll never stop. But when
Well,
you say
from an
it,
outside observer, you're kind of like a Hollywood starlet, like that slams the trailer door and
Yeah.
there's like the star on the wall, and people
Yeah.
are like, "Do you need like cookies or
yes,
something?" And I give you your cookies.
exactly. You know how to handle me. Matt does not. Matt just wants to keep arguing too. We're two idiots.
No,
that
I
keep
know.
arguing.
Yeah,
If you will just say something that will quell the situation, then it'll be all right.
I'm basically Toby Flenderson from The Office,
Yes.
HR.
And everyone hates Toby.
Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Sure glad that psychology degree is paying off
Yep.
for
Good for
pay to
you.
play flag football. Okay. All right, so you want to go on? I guess we'll do a little musical break. And then,
We call this the Cody Rodriguez portion of the program.
yeah, we are now ending the Cody Rodriguez portion. So,
Well, no, the musical interlude is his section because remember, because he never knew that there was a second part of the show.
yes, okay, so we're going to enter the Cody Rodriguez section
We're
for
gonna
the.
enter Cody Rodriguez right now.
We're going to enter Cody Rodriguez section,
Oh, his section, yes.
just the section of him. All right, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I know we lost at least one viewer.
Welcome
Listener.
back. One live viewer.
This section has no title. It's just rapping with Uncle Troy. That's what I'm going to call it.
Troy's got some questions.
So Troy has questions that we're going to try to answer regarding the state of things.
No, just
questions.
Just random questions. I just thought better. What would I was thinking? What would be not interesting, but just goofy podcast type questions.
Okay.
Not interview questions that you're having a serious interview. Just podcast type questions. So I'll ask you, and then I'll give whatever answer I have to.
Okay.
So my first question. This is a question that people have probably been asked forever. If you had a superpower, what would you choose? It could be one or two superpowers. What would you choose and why?
The first thing I think of when I think of choosing a superpower is I would like to be able to generate any amount of money in my hand at any point in time. I feel like I could get a lot done then. Thank you very much. I could do a lot of nice things for people. I could do a lot of mean things to people. And it would just depend on my mood that day. I mean, I might wake up and decide, you know what? This family needs $1 million. And I may wake up and decide, I need to hire a lawyer to destroy this person. And I could do anything. So basically, the ability to have money.
Okay, that's good. That's not even something I thought about. That's a good one. When I first thought of this question, when I was probably in high school, I thought, how about my two that I came up with were the ability to fly and the ability to be invisible.
Right.
And I was thinking of more of like a superhuman kind of
Right.
thing, not like just an everyday guy. I was thinking something that you could use if you needed it for fight or anything like that as a super. I'm not thinking it as an everyday person. So those were the two I always thought of. But then I started thinking like, well, but if I have those abilities, I could still get injured somehow. So
Sure.
I decided, mate, what about the ability to just never be injured at all or hurt for
Like
anything?
you're just never hurt.
Think about the inhibitions they would be gone because you would never get injured doing anything. You could just do whatever, and nothing would ever hurt you or harm you or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool because then it would open up a lot of doors for you. I think it would be pretty cool to have kind of niche superpower. I almost think those would be more fun because to
Yeah.
me, I don't know, if you're invisible or if you can fly or if you can read people's minds, it kind of takes the fun out of a lot of stuff. But let's say that you just have the ability to breathe underwater. Like, there's still some game in life, you know, but you could really make that work for you. I mean,
but you can't breathe outside of water.
well, that would be a very complicated superhero power. It would make dating almost impossible.
Be Waterman.
Waterman.
Not Aquaman, but Waterman.
No, Waterman. Now you know what Aquaman is. It sounds like a really stupid idea. Like, the dumbest superpower to me on the X-Men stuff was always, like, Wolverine. It just seemed so random. It was like, yeah, he can regenerate. That part I get. But the claws seem superfluous. It's like, well, why?
Yeah,
Just 'cause?
Yeah. Do they grow out of his hands? Do they go back? Do they retract? I don't know. I'm not much on superheroes.
And
stuff,
that Batman never had a gun is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, the bat gun.
The bat gun, was it shoot bats? Like, a Mike Holmgren of bats comes at you? That's a group of bats, by the way. A Mike Holmgren of bats.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Few people know that.
It shoots a live
Yeah.
bat.
And it, like, flies at you at the speed of a normal bullet. So, I mean, the bat's dead because it can't survive that fast of a...
Propulsion.
Yeah. And it'll hurt. I mean, it's not going to feel good. I don't think it would kill you, though.
Oh.
A hollow point bat. Where you have your armor-penetrating bat. I don't know really how this works. Anyway, just
bat
saying,
gun.
Batman should have had a gun.
I see, but the reason why I think Batman was my favorite was because he was just a normal guy. He just had a lot of money and
Remember my
athletic ability.
superpower.
He had a lot
Have
of
any
money.
amount of money
He
I
had,
want.
he had any amount of money, and he was very athletic. That was about it. That was his thing. I mean,
He didn't have much of a personal life.
but didn't he run businesses? He ran Wayne Enterprises and stuff. He had a business. It wasn't like
Yeah.
Clark Kent who wrote for the newspaper.
Clark Kent didn't even have a mask.
I mean, he had
He
glasses.
just changed his hair a little
How
bit.
dumb were people back in the 20s and 30s?
Yeah,
He's
those
got glasses
stupid
on.
idiots.
Yeah.
Can't believe they believed stuff that wasn't true.
That guy was just lying to them. How could they trust him to be their superhero?
The
He's
next
lying to them?
superhero is going to be Q. the ability to summon any number of rednecks to your aid at any point in time.
He can create any conspiracy theory at
That-
the drop of a hat.
That's my power. I want to whistle. Okay, I'm going to be called the summoner. And when I blow my whistle, a brigade of rednecks will swarm to me and follow my orders at any point in time, each dressed in real tree camo and carrying at least 2 guns.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
But-
my power.
So basically,
The summoner
basically, you just live in Southeast Texas then.
with a whistle
Okay.
that has the magical powers to summon a brigade of Deweyvillians.
Ooh, Devil's Pocket.
No, Deweyville burn. Well, I apologize to anybody from Deweyville. Well, they don't have the internet.
Yeah, they're not listening to this.
All right, give me another question.
All
That's a
right,
good
let's
question.
see. My second question. If you could choose one song to play every time you walked into a room for the rest of your life, what would it be? Like you're the lead character in a movie,
And
this is
every
your
time.
entrance scene.
So it's like from that show Clarissa Explains It All when Sam would
Yeah.
sneak in her window, which seemed unnecessary.
Well, you know what they were doing.
I want Kiss Me by the Cardigans. Is it the Cardigans? I think so. Like, Kiss Me.
Oh, I thought it was Love Fool. Is that Love Fool?
Oh, maybe so. Nope. Okay, then I gotta change my song.
Say that
You know what? I want "There Goes My Hero" by Foo Fighters.
Okay.
Now that would be cool about once, and then people would think I was a douchebag.
Now, does this also coincide with your superpower too, or are we doing this
Yeah.
separate? Because I didn't think about
Yeah,
that.
because if I have my superpower where either I'm summoning the rednecks
or I have money.
I have money, it could be taken as like a good thing if I'm doing good things, or an ironic thing. You know, if I want to make kind of a comedy out of it.
Yeah.
I like "There Goes My Hero." That's. Give me what you think, and I'll kind of.
I have
Think about it.
Mine has always been "Serious Juju" from Sammy Hagar, just because of the sound of the song. It has nothing to do with the the words or anything. It's just the sound of the intro of the song is always cool to me. So I've always thought that. You just have to hear it. It's nobody
I've
knows
heard
what
it.
that song is.
Well, maybe I don't know. YouTube doesn't really
Yeah.
let me do anything.
Yeah.
Well, go to your whatever music thing you use and look up Serious Juju.
Yeah, I just like the intro of the song. It has a cool vibe, like if somebody walking down the street or into a room or something. It's a neat vibe. That's the only reason why.
I think, depending on the speed in which I'm coming into the room, Crazy Train would be kind of cool. Like if I'm slowly entering,
Yeah.
but there's a little bit of a build-up. There's a song called The Mob Goes Wild by Clutch that might be okay. And in certain parts of my life, Choices by George Jones.
Okay. Yeah, you've made some choices.
I have.
Yeah. And most of them aided by George Jones.
Yeah. Or at least his likeness.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's like a good rap song I could do. Maybe like X Gonna Give It To You by DMX. R.I.P.
Oh, DMX is dead.
Yeah.
He's dead as Good Friday.
Yeah, he is.
My other one would be, it's a little more aggressive. It's What Doesn't Die by Anthrax.
Oh.
That was a good one. That intro to that song is intense. So.
All right, so if I'm taking this to the ultimate thing, I'm going to go with Superpower, Money at Any Time, intro song every single time. It's going to be Choices. Yep. Okay, that's where I'm at with
That's
these
where
two
you are.
questions.
All right, I like it.
Okay.
I like it. Let me see. I got another one. I think I've got one more here. Let me see. Okay. If you could get rid of any one state, which would it be and why?
Alabama or Mississippi. I mean, you know what? I'll go Mississippi because I've been there more than Alabama. There's nothing that I can think of that's real good about it. The people there are extremely uneducated and unhealthy. They're drained on the system. They're incredibly poor, which isn't bad. You can be poor, but come on, Mississippi, get it together. They are backward. Their roads are terrible. I drove through Mississippi to go to a school for work, and they have this like nice public park as you're driving through, which feels like you're on a boat, like hitting waves, because, well, freeways, who cares about them? What we need to do is go ahead and make a bunch of laws so them women can't get their abortions. So I'm going down the road, and there's a nice looking park sign that says, hey, this is a Mississippi park. Well, no one's cared for it in years. And there is how they have the I almost said space shuttle, the airplane at Bates Harris Park, like the actual size airplane. They have that in Mississippi, this park, but there's an effing tree like growing up through it.
Of course.
Like everything's just overgrown. We went to, Mississippi's terrible. We went to an Applebee's where everyone there was like on crutches or in a wheelchair, and this woman had her mouth open down the way. And her old man husband, I guess, got tired of looking at her mouth hole, so he just like poked a paper towel in her.
In her?
And then the waitress came and like sat in the booth with us because she was so broken down. She's like, y'all, I'm just tired. I'm like, okay. And then we went to a Western Sizzling, and it was not better.
And how about that speed trap of a city of Meridian, Mississippi?
That's where we went. That's exactly where we went.
Like you're on Highway 12 and you're driving like 90 miles an hour, and all of a sudden it drops down to like 45 on the interstate. Like,
No.
oh god, what a terrible.
If Mississippi could just disappear, I would be just fine. Now the people can live. I don't want to kill people, but Mississippi itself they need a shake up a little bit.
I'm going to sidetrack now. Now
Okay,
that
go
we're on
ahead.
this because it's Mississippi. I'll agree with you on Mississippi because I didn't even think about this. But that reminds me, when my freshman year of college, spring of 2002, running track, we go to southern Mississippi to go run a track meet. It's in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. And we go to eat the night before the track meet. We go to eat at a restaurant. I cannot remember. Maybe it was a Papa John's or something. No, it was a CC's Pizza.
Well, they only have like chain restaurants
Yeah.
in Mississippi.
It was a CC's Pizza. So we're going to eat there, and as we're leaving, it's a bunch of the guys and the girls are all on track team, and one of our guys, DJ Keithley, one of the nicest, most religious, sweetest guys in the world. And we're leaving, and this lady, big-haired lady, comes out and grabs him by the shoulder and turns around and says, "Son, I just have to pray for you. I can just see that you're just a sinner, son. I have to pray for you." And held us up and held him up for minutes. And I'm going, this, of all of the people, he's the last one that you would do that to. Of all of us here, he's the last one you would do that to. And it pissed me off.
It was for his hair, probably?
No, I don't know what it was. But she was just like, "I have to pray for you, son. I can tell you're just a sinner." And we're just like, we're getting all pissed off. And he's not. DJ's just like, "Well, thank you, man." He's just, because he's a nice, guy. He doesn't care. He's gonna say, "Well, thank you. I appreciate that." And he was praying with her. Because that's he was a religious, that's what he was doing. And we were all getting pissed off, like, "No, don't do that to him. He doesn't need that. Do it to us.
Yeah.
We're the ones that need. We're the terrible people. He's not. He's the nicest guy in the world. He goes to church every Sunday and Wednesday. He's the,
He's the only one that's good.
yeah." And we're all like, we were getting pissed off. And I was like, I was about to go over there and just let him do this. He's not upset about it. Let him do this. And it made me mad. And I was just like, because it showed me, it was like, you have no idea who this guy is. You have no idea about any of us, and you picked him out because of a group of young kids. We're all in our late teens, early 20s, and you just pick one of us out to do this, to kind of do whatever.
And I think that is my complaint with Mississippi in general, but in particular certain people, is that they like to give unsolicited advice and unsolicited pity and this other. I don't want advice or pity. I just want to go and do the things I'm doing and be left alone.
Yeah.
Nothing irritates me more about talking to people than them trying to fix my problems for me. I'm like,
yeah.
If I wanted advice, I would totally ask you. Just, I don't know. I think that is a Mississippi type Southern thing, and it's one of the things I don't like. It's like other people trying to fix people they don't know. You're like, well, I'm not broken. I mean, it's just kind of what I'm doing. That's a good question. I like that question. I get fired up about Mississippi.
Well, now I'm sidetracked again.
Okay.
Then I started talking about the track team. This is same guys. Let me go back. This is one of our tales from the sideline.
I have to find that recording.
Tales
from the back seat of the curtain of tomorrow.
Of the sideline for yesterday's tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. So we're running a track meet in Arlington. It's spring of 2002, my freshman year, where it's the last meet of the year before we can actually qualify for nationals in the mile relay. So it's me, Jermaine Jones, he was from Burnett, Texas, DJ Keithley, who was from Camden, Arkansas, I think, and then Ricky Martinez, he was from Pecos, Texas. So they were 3 sophomores, and I was a freshman on the team. And we hadn't run together all year long. Ricky had been hurt all year. So this is our last meet to run together. We're trying to make it to nationals. Our best time of the year had been in the 3:12 or something like that, and you had to get to 3:10, I think, to qualify for nationals. So we had all just canceled running our individual events because we wanted to qualify for nationals in the mile relay. It's the only event we could qualify for. We couldn't qualify in individual events. So it's in Arlington, Texas. We get there, and we're in lane 4 because we had the top qualifying time of the meet. Well, and throughout the day, there were high school teams that were running also. The best high school teams in the state were sprinkled in throughout. Well, we get there, and we're in lane 4, and in lane 5 is this high school team from somewhere in Dallas. They were purple and gold. I remember that. I can't remember what they were, and I said, we're trying to qualify for nationals, and we're going to get beat by a fucking high school team. I was so pissed. Like, this is going to be embarrassing because these guys were big kids. I mean, they were, I was just a senior the year before, so these are they're still our age. But I was like, God, we're trying to qualify for nationals. We're going to get beat. So, because when they announced them, all the crowd just cheered and went nuts for them. Like, they brought a whole a slew of people, and they were just. I was like, God damn it, we're gonna get beat. So I ran first leg. We take off, and that kid gets out in front, and I'm like, God, I gotta chase this kid down, try to beat him. and he's out in front. We get around the third turn, and you could just tell he's starting to fade, and I'm just picking up my steam, as I get next to him and then get to the straightaway and blow by him, you hear him go, "Fuck!" and I blow by him, hand it off to Jermaine, and he goes and he hands to DJ and hands to Ricky, and we ran like a 3:10.2. We were 2/10 of a
Yard,
we
right
were,
off.
We were 2/10 of a second away from making it to nationals. That was the first race Ricky ran all year because he had been hurt all year. If he had been building up, his momentum all year long, we probably would have qualified.
Yeah.
But he was hurt, that high school team finished like way behind us. So we won the thing, good running away from everybody.
Yeah.
And they finished way back behind us, and it was just interesting. It was so fun watching their they were so hyped up and jumping around. And as soon as I passed him, you could see all the crowd just this little white kid, this little short white kid. DJ looked like me, except for he was more bigger. He had bigger muscles. Jermaine was a tall, skinny black guy. Ricky was a Latino kid from West Texas. So we just looked like the weirdest group of sprinters, and they had these big black guys. And then when I passed him, you could just hear the crowd, like we were the bad guys or something. And that was one of my most favorite memories of running in college.
There's a movie called Great White Hype. It's not a very good movie.
With Damon Wayans as
but
Peter.
Love that
movie.
Like I said, I remember it and I thought it was funny, but I never thought it was a great movie. But man, the message in it is so true, especially now. This whole build-up of this person's awesome and this is all going to be a big thing and everybody gets built up, and then of course none of it was true, and the person who's better at whatever event wins.
Yeah.
And everybody gets screwed and only people profit from it. That happens so much, like the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor thing. I mean, whoever thought that Conor McGregor had a chance of beating a boxer at boxing with the rules of boxing? It's not. Yeah. They're different sports. I mean,
one of my favorite parts of the Great White Hype is when they're in the match at the end of the movie, and Peter Berg, the white guy, what was his name? I can't remember what his name was. His character.
Man, I don't remember.
He hadn't fought in years. He knocked him out long ago.
Right, they were sparring.
And then he was like a rock star up until then. So
yeah.
He punches him and knocks him down, and Damon Wayans gets up and goes, "Are you trying to embarrass me on live TV?" And then just beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, and he's like out of shape and he's fat.
And then beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Actually, it's not a great movie, but
the story it's telling is a real story.
That's the only movie I can think of where they told that story to me the way things really are in life.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to watch it again. Maybe it was a good movie. I just remember thinking when I was done with it, and maybe it was because I was involved emotionally and thought, oh, well, this is going to be a good fight. And then at the end, I was like, oh.
Yeah. Because you thought, he's going to beat him. And then because he had that overhand right.
Right. He's got that overhand right.
I think Peter Berg was the director of that movie, too. The white guy. I think he was the director of that movie. But that was such a good movie.
There's so many movies where, the underdog wins, or Little Giants and all these movies when we were kids. And it's that's not how the world is. When you face an expert or a professional at something, you're not going to win. I mean, person does it for a living. Come on.
Now I got to go watch that movie.
All right, do you have another question? Is there more questions?
No, they were all dumb.
That's all the questions?
That was it.
Okay, well, I enjoyed answering your questions. So, to reiterate, I am a superhero who can conjure up any amount of money at any point in time. What was the second question again?
The song you would enter a room
every
with.
time I enter, George Jones' song Choices will be played, and I will use my superpowers to defeat Mississippi.
Yes. And you will crush them with your immense money.
Yes, my immense money will crush Meridian specifically.
Oh,
Mississippi. And my name will be the Carpetbagger. I mean, this is great.
Oh.
So I'll tell you what, if anybody who's listening to this still, if you can answer those 3 questions in the comments of this video, I will give you a free SETX FFL shirt. Your size that you want, up to 10 people. More than 10 people, I'm not going to buy your effing shirt, but up to 10 people.
How about we give a discount for the league?
I'll give you a shirt and a discount.
a certain a numeric discount.
Yeah, like a later to be determined discount,
Yeah.
or unless you want to come up with one.
I don't know, $10
$10 discount and a shirt
for each person that.
for each person that comments.
Now, I don't want an entire team to come in here and comment, and then they get in for free. So.
Well, I say up to 10 people. So
Okay.
if 10 people from your team comment, you get $100 off your team. The
I
first
like
10
it.
though.
The first 10 that comment get $10 off.
Now
of
you have to
the-
comment with your answers to each of these questions.
and the team you play on.
Not just comment that says like hello, but like the team you play on. So
Answer all of the answer all 3 of those questions.
yeah. Now I'm not
Do we
gonna.
have 3 questions?
Yeah, and let's
Oh,
not
yeah.
let's not repeat them. That way they have to go back and listen.
I like it.
Okay.
$10 off and a gift certificate to the store, the SATX FFL store.
I'll get you a
Is
shirt.
that what we said? A shirt?
I'll get you a shirt. You get a shirt, $10 off.
I like it.
Okay. Anything
We're
else?
all about giving.
Well, we want people to comment.
We've given.
GVNG.
Given.
Yeah. Okay. I can't remember how I'm supposed to sign off now. Oh yeah. Now I remember. Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, that was good. That was good for our first time in like 2 months to do this.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay. Well,
I haven't seen you in forever. I'm happy to see you.
I am also happy to behold you.
I was happy to see Flick too.
Old Flick. Flick made it. Just made it right there at the end. All right. I wish you all the success.
#don't and good luck.